Good evening, everyone. This is Henry Gambell with SimplerOptions.com, and in today's free video, I wanted to review some of the work that I'd shared with you in Friday's video, primarily in the financial sector. So, this is a place where looking at Bank of America, this has done pretty well. You've seen that parabolic SAR shift. We've got the daily squeeze in play after what I would consider a failed bearish squeeze. Not to mention that, but notice your volume. Anytime you have volume that exceeds the 50-day moving average, that's worth considering. So when that happened on Friday, that was my first clue. The fact that that followed through today is one more confirmation, and having what I feel is a foundational bullish approach to the financials also gives me a bullish approach to the markets. Generally speaking, the markets cannot do well without the backing of financials, and that's one more way to look at the confirmation of that. You'll also notice how well this did on the pullback to the 34, close above the 10, and that's about as good as you can get as far as a buy-side setup. The other that we had reviewed was here with Key. This follows the exact same setup in that you've got the same relationship with that 10 and 34 on the weekly. That if you come back to the daily, the thing I wanted to point out more here, and you may have seen it there at the very beginning of the video, but we illustrated that symmetry last Friday and how it hit and held. Come over and go to View here in TradeStation and view your data window just to give you the exact levels. So what this is telling us is that from this swing that would have happened on, would have been beginning on July 1st down into July 6th, you can see that we had that decline. That was a given point value. That exact same decline would have reciprocated here over into the low that was made on 9/27, and it was exactly the same price. So the low for that day was 11.89, symmetry was 11.89, and that's the type of work that, and I have no interest in calling bottoms, or tops for that matter, but if you can know, I have a really good idea that this could start to find its support here, even though it's closed below the 21 EMA, that's a big step in the right direction. Now that we've determined that, and we've also seen that parabolic SAR shift to the buy side, that is a great setup to start looking to buy, or either basically fulfill your buy-side setups. Now the one that we participated in the chat room was Citigroup. And this is exactly the same thing. I mean, pick one of the three, but they all essentially carry the exact same bias. So when you look at this chart, very similar relationship to that 10 and 34. Hold the pullback to it, see the shift in the parabolic SAR, and we're well on our way. Now how do you begin to calculate targets here? This is where I will come in to use my Fibonacci tools. So let's use our drawings, and we want to look at price extension lines. Technically they are extensions, but they show up a little different depending on the platform you're using. You want to measure that swing high to swing low, and this is where we start to get our first target. So if you've been able to accumulate that off of Friday's idea, hopefully you got a pretty fair entry. The target on that is going to be 49, and then if you want to look at a secondary price target, just format that analysis technique and add in the 1618. This is another very common part of what we like to use in our analysis, and the thing that I like the most about it is it gives you an area where you can take off the first part of your position and then trail it up if you have multiple contracts, because this still looks great. We had much better than average volume today on a positive close, and I think Citigroup is ready to push into, at the very least, 50, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I hope you found that helpful. Hopefully the follow-up gives you some ideas on how to trail that up. And I also want to make sure that you are aware of the webinar that is front and center. That will be here tomorrow afternoon, evening, depending on where you are. And that's going to be October 5th at 7 p.m. Central. We're going to get to hear from John Carter and Rogie Horner on their take on trading the election. And regardless of how you feel about the candidates, there will still be opportunities around it. There will be opportunities in these currencies. And these are two of the best people I know to listen to around that. So I hope you found it helpful. If there's anything else I can do to assist you, please let me know. Otherwise, we will see you at the next free video.